Why am I always late? What's up, guys? Welcome to another late episode. I have been awake and outside almost every single day for the last 3 months for sunrise, and I've never had any clouds for the last 3 months except for like 3 days. And one of those days was the snow day. So I'm super rushed, if you couldn't tell, but I thought I would bring you guys with me. Breakthrough Photography sent me some filters a few weeks ago, and I haven't had a chance to use them yet because I don't have clouds, I don't have water, I don't have really anything that I would need gradual ND filters for. And I don't really use graduated ND filters too much, except for one reason: time lapses. And that's what I'm trying to do right now. We have some beautiful clouds right over there for sunrise, and what I want is I want a time lapse and I want a long exposure. And I'm going to make the long exposure out of the time lapse. But I don't typically use grad ND filters, and this is also not, it's like the first time for using this, and I'm like rushed as hell, and I'm trying to make a video, so I'm like completely scatterbrained. All right, I've got to change lenses. Okay, so I can't find my 82mm adapter thingy. I only found the 77mm, and the 16-35 that I was just filming the vlog with is the only thing that has that. So as I was saying, I don't usually use these because I just bracket in post if I want to do a still shot. Okay, wow. So this sunset is just starting, just like I thought. I think it's gonna go over that way, so I'm gonna get another camera that I left in my car and maybe pick off some longer shots right there. Okay, so I've got my R6 with my 1:400. Oh, so time lapse real quick. I've got it manual exposure. I'm gonna have to manually control it because I didn't put it in aperture, but I did underexpose it a little bit, and I've got the 3-stop soft grad on there, which is gonna help rein in those highlights. Still probably not gonna be enough, but I've got that going on for that f4. And the reason I have it as f4 is 2 reasons. One, because that's what the lens was on when I was filming, and 2, because I have some sensor dust and some lens dust and all that stuff, and I just want to focus past all that. So f4, focused at infinity on the horizon with the mountains, 1/80th of a second, 250 ISO, and I'm gonna manually adjust this as soon as I need to, because it's gonna get a lot brighter here when that sun comes up. But this is gonna be really nice for the reason why I love using the grad filters for time lapses is it's gonna be really nice for me not having to edit as much. So like I said, when I do still shots, I can just bracket, right? I can just take multiple exposures, one under, one over, one right on, and whatever, and I could blend those in Photoshop super easy. But that's just a still shot. I don't want to have to do that much. Like, I certainly don't want to do an HDR time lapse. That's way too much effort. And being able to use this to control the color in the sky and the highlights in the sky is just going to be so much easier when I'm editing the time lapse. It's going to be a lot less work for me, and it's going to come out real nice. And then I'll be able to edit the still shot of the blend that I take. So I'll probably take at least 40 shots of this from the blend so we can get these clouds streaky by. I just barely missed it too. I'm really hoping that the color is gonna happen over here a little bit. Oh, this sunrise is actually doing exactly what I had hoped. And pretty much what I figured. I come here a lot for sunrise, so it kind of helps to go to a place that you know, and you kind of know what the light's gonna look like based on the clouds, because I've shot this area so many times. I wish I had brought another tripod, because I'd like to set up another time lapse here, because now this light is gonna hit over the town and La Capilla and a little bit better mid-ground, foreground interest over this way. There's nothing over this way, which is one of the reasons why I was going to do a long exposure. So especially, like, I always like to find something that's in the foreground or at least the mid-ground, and in this case there's not. So when there's not, what I like to do to add a little more interest to, rather than just take a still shot, is do that long exposure, so I have some streakiness in the clouds and some interest, some movement. And that really helps, I think, from composition standpoint, from an interesting standpoint, to, you know, give it a little more oomph, especially if there's nothing going on in the foreground. I don't know why, but my R5 just completely stopped. And I don't know what just happened, but it just gave me an error in the middle of my time lapse, and it like said I had to pull the battery and reinsert it. So that's not cool. I've been having some problems with the R5 and the R6 with time lapsing. I made a video about it if you want to check it out, but basically, because I have back button focus enabled, there's some weird software glitch that prevents the internal intervalometer from working. So I had to program it to CP1, to the custom mode, and it is just, oh, it's been a nightmare. Rather than use my external intervalometers, which I probably should have done, because now I'm gonna have a little bit of a jump right there. But hopefully I did it fast enough and I caught it fast enough that we can save it and keep going. So now I'm just gonna pick off some long shots handheld. With the 100, this stuff is really starting to light up. The 100's a tad bit long for getting something in the foreground here, but luckily these clouds are really low lying, so I don't have to do that much of a stretch, or I'll probably do some handheld panos like the one I just did right there. Oh wow, I didn't notice that the moon is over there setting with the clouds. That looks pretty cool, actually. The clouds, the sunrise color and the clouds swirled just around the moon, just perfectly. That was really cool. I'm afraid, I wanted to leave and walk over there to get some more shots with this at a different composition, but I'm afraid to leave this R5 now. I think that it's gonna wonk out on me if I walk away. Boy, that really sucks. I don't know what's going on. Canon said there's gonna be a new firmware update in November for the R5, and God, I hope it fixes this problem, because as a time-lapse photographer, I cannot deal with not being able to trust this thing for time lapses. And I don't have this problem if I were to use the time-lapse movie mode, which I think is what a lot of people do, but I don't do that because I like to get the raws and I like to edit and I like to get the long exposure out of them. So I haven't been using the time-lapse movie modes. I've used the time-lapse movie modes a couple of times with the R5 and the R6. I haven't done the 8K yet, but I will. I'm gonna make a video about that. And I've used it just for like filler stuff, you know, but mostly when I do a time lapse, I try to get the most out of it, especially because I know that I'm going to be blending images and needing those raw files and stuff like that. So that part of the time lapsing, if you have an R5, doesn't have any problem. And if you don't set up back button focusing, it doesn't have a problem either. But man, this is really, it's frustrating for sure, because the R5 has been the best camera I've ever had outside of the time lapse issue. Sun's coming up. Cooke's Peak's looking really nice, perfectly lit. I'm gonna get a quick shot of that. Everything handheld with the 1-400 right now. I'm at 400th of a second, f5.6, auto ISO. It's just picking handheld shots off. But that's really nice with the rays just coming out just over Cooke's Peak. If you subscribe to the channel and you've watched my other videos, you've probably seen Cooke's Peak like a million times. But it's just such a classic looking mountain, and I have just such a good view of it, I just can't help it. I'm gonna photograph it for as long as I'm in Silver City. All right, I'm gonna stop this because I've decided I'm gonna set it up right over there to get a quick time lapse. See how that goes. Here comes the sun. All right, so I had to switch to my phone because I ran out of cameras. I got the RP set up with 2470 time lapse, aperture priority mode, no filter, no drop in. I would have liked a filter because the sky is brighter, but I don't have one, so I just kind of exposed for the highlights. And this one, I just want the light sweeping over the landscape, this beautiful golden hour light now, because I don't think those clouds are gonna light up. But now I need to go check on the R5 because I don't trust it now, and I've just left it for like 2 minutes, and I think it could have stopped. Nope, it's still going. I don't know why it did that, but it definitely freaked me out. I think that's pretty much it for this time lapse, so I think this one's good to go. And there's not much else to do. All right, well, that was hopefully kind of short, and short is a relative term, I suppose. It felt short to me, but I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. I just wanted to bring you guys out for my chaotic sunrise shoot and talk to you a little bit about the filters and show you how I'm gonna be using it going forward and stuff. So I'm pretty excited about having them. I've had the Lee filters before, the drop-in ones, the graduated ones, and I can't stand them. I hate them. They're too color casty, and they're just not as good of quality. These Breakthroughs are the best quality filters I've ever seen. And this is not sponsored in any way, shape, or form. Breakthrough didn't even ask me to make a video about this at all. They just sent them to me because they thought I'd like to try them out, and no strings attached. So everything I say is my own, and I'm definitely going to keep these in my kit, and I will probably continue to recommend them. I've been using their circular polarizer for a little while now, and I absolutely love it. That's what I use to do these fall images, and I made a video about it. You can check that out. But I've just absolutely been loving them. I can't wait to try them out more when I get to a place that actually has some water. But that's gonna be a while with travel restrictions and me being in New Mexico where there is no water. All right, so I'm gonna wrap it up here because it's definitely second breakfast time. If you guys have any questions about anything that I did or didn't do concerning the time lapses or the long exposures or anything like that, just leave those in the comments down below, and I'll answer them. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I've got new videos every week. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.